right, let's do this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful episode of Cigar Talks. I'm still working on the name. I'll get it here eventually. Tonight, we have a couple of special things actually happening and going on and to talk about. It's actually quite going to be a little different, a little bit of a fun podcast or blog or vlog. First up, we have the American Viking, Liga Zebra, or League of the Zebra. Very nice barber pole. I actually very much enjoy a barber pole. They've always got some unique flavors, but this one has one other little secret. It's got a closed foot, which again is another thing I kind of like. I've had both barber pole cigars and I've had the closed foot cigars, and I do enjoy both of them. I've talked about American Viking before. You're probably going to see a lot more of the Liga Zebras because I actually bought a box of them because they are now sponsoring or donating some of their proceeds to EMS, and they really support EMS, fire, police. And when I did, I was able to get one of their custom fight coins. So on the top there it says, "So others may live," and the bottom, "Do no harm." They've got the Star of Life with the white stripe, which in case you didn't know, the white stripe is like the thin blue line, we're the thin white line. And on the back has their beautiful American Viking logo. And then it says, "Born in Nicaragua, raised by cigar lovers." Awesome coin. This actually came free with my purchase. I did have to kind of pull some strings to get it, actually, because you're supposed to only be able to get those in store or in a brick and mortar store, but I was able to work a way out where I could actually get one shipped up to me. I'm very excited about that. So anyway, as you notice, it's not lit, so I'm going to go light this cigar before continuing on, so stand by. All right, and we're back. Got my cigar lit. Just as I remembered, I've had this one other time before. Quite a nice cigar. Liking the company, they support EMS, and I do enjoy their cigar brand. Tonight, for the drink, we have another special addition to the Cigar Talks. Never before on these episodes have we had something so pure, so clean, so refreshing. That's right, it's water. So, I decided for the third year in a row to do a program called Exodus 90. For those of you who have heard of it, I'm not doing it for the reason why a lot of people do it. As originally designed to get priests who are in the seminary. There's apparently a big problem with them being addicted to porn. So it was actually created to help them deal with that addiction. That's not why I did it. I like to have some challenges and dedicate some time to prayer, sacrifice, and whatnot. So I don't do it for the reason it's supposed to be for kicking whatever enslaves you. That's not really why I do it. I do it more for a chance to really dedicate myself to prayer. As I'm guessing, if anyone's been watching this one from the beginning, you do know that I am actually quite religious. I do promise, though, that this is not going to turn into the religious smoking hour. There were no spirits of... I listened to a podcast under the Spirit of Jesus where they drank and talked about Jesus. Promise you, it's not going there. But as it already has, it kind of busts into some of these topics. Tonight is going to be one of those topics. We're going to talk about something I'm taking up during this Exodus 90 quest, which is praying for your enemy. Now, those of you who actually know me personally know that I actually have a long list of enemies, in my opinion. People who have definitely wronged me, harmed me in one way or another. I have to admit, growing up, I was the nerdy kid. Got bullied a lot, got beat up a lot, got picked on a lot. I really got to see at a young age the dark side of humans. So as such, I had no reservations about saying I had enemies, wishing people ill. Not very Catholic thing to do. Of course, I do understand that. And I had problems with it, still do to this day. I wouldn't let stuff go. I'd hold grudges. I'd think of very horrifying ways that the person could meet their revenge or their justice, or how I could seek my revenge. And yeah, it's not a very Catholic way to live, not a very healthy way to live. It wasn't until a few years ago, and I do have to admit it's been recent since I've really been able to try to turn and shift that thought process, that I ran across two Bible verses that really kind of changed my mind. So I'm going to read them real quick to you. One's from the Old Testament, one's from the New Testament, so you know it's a good thought or good verse in the Bible because it shows up multiple times, almost verbatim. So in case you want to follow along at home, we're in Proverbs 25, chapter 21 and 22. So it goes like this. If your enemies are hungry, give them food. If thirsty, give them drink. For live coals will be heaped on their head, and the Lord will vindicate you. In case you're curious about the version, it is the St. Joseph's edition that I'm reading this from. New American Bible. So that's the first one in the Old Testament, very Old Testament. I do like that. So New Testament, we're going to Romans 13, chapter 19 through 21, 19 through 21. Beloved, do not look for revenge, but leave room for the wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. Rather, if your enemy is hungry, feed them. If he is thirsty, give them something to drink. For by so doing, you will heap burning coals upon his head. Kind of the best part, I do like to add 21 in there. Do not be conquered by evil, but conquer evil with good. Heard that Bible verse, actually listened to some interpretations people had, some talks about it, and it really did make sense to me. It struck a chord of what is ultimately good and what is ultimately justice, and even as the Bible puts it, vengeance. And it really got me thinking about how I need to pray for my enemies. So there's a couple of outcomes that'll happen when you pray for someone or something. One, and I know this from studying psychology and being in medicine, people who are, as we'd qualify as evil or crazy or whatever, it's not always something they have 100% control over. You'll find something's missing in their life. Love at a young age. Someone to love them. Guidance. Sense of purpose. A lot of times these people, they'll talk about being lost. They don't have security. They don't have someone who will care or pray about for them. And as a way to kind of cope and deal with that, they do these evil deeds. So one, when you're praying for someone who has wronged you, chances are they definitely need it. They need the prayers. They need someone in their life around them to care enough to say, you know what, God, they need your help. They need your guidance. Because they might not have someone who is willing to do that for them, to ask for mercy, to ask for grace, to ask for forgiveness for them, for guidance. And that might be what they need. Maybe you're praying for them will change their hearts, change their minds, and allow them to become that better person, become closer to God. So if your prayer does do that, how amazing. As Catholics, we talk about evangelizing and trying to convert people and try to get people closer to God. It's one of the most prized things a Catholic can do. If you're able to convert someone, as I've heard some presenters talk about at different retreats and whatnot, the grace, the glory, the good job, the attaboy points you're given in heaven are insurmountable. You brought someone closer to the Word of God. Could you imagine? And again, I can't say for sure because I'm not God, but the grace and the kudos and the thumbs up you'd get for getting someone who is an enemy, someone who has wronged people. Because chances are they're not just being mean or evil to you, they're probably being mean and evil to a bunch of people. And for your prayers to be that catalyst that turn their hearts, that would be amazing grace. Now, that's all fine and good, of course, but praying does take a lot of energy. It does take a lot of effort. That's why I like both of those passages talk about the heaping of coals on someone's head. Burning coals, nonetheless. Burning coals. Now, if you look online for a few minutes, you'll find some people who try to put this lighthearted spin on the passage that, there's some more pleasant meaning than having someone have some smoldering coals sit on top of their head and have them constantly burned. I believe in kind of the more Old Testament approach. Although I do acknowledge Vatican I, I do like a lot of, or Vatican II, and a lot of the changes they made. I believe in the fire and brimstone, the Vatican I. We suffer on earth. I talked about this in my last video. We suffer on earth so we don't have to suffer in purgatory. Suffering something, again, that I think we underappreciate in today's culture. But the thought of that if you're doing something good and pure to turn someone's heart and they turn away from it, they will be punished. God will take vengeance on them. God will take that vendetta. He'll see that if you are mean, you're evil, but yet you have good-hearted, good-souled people who pray for you, and you didn't change your ways, that's a special type of trouble you're in now, Mr. or Lady. So that really spoke to me. And again, that's probably not the best way for it to speak to me. I have talked to my wife about this, and she's like, I think you're missing some points in that verse. Possible. I'll not deny that at all. That maybe I'm kind of reading too much into it, but I have heard other people talk about this. Prayer and praying for someone, especially for them to get help, for them to get grace, for them to turn towards God. Truthfully, I don't know if they're, even if I'm, it's me asking for them to get help and even offering help in the form of prayer. And if they decide not to take it, that's on them. So it's not really wasted. It's not wasted prayer. The person, if they didn't convert, that's just wasted prayer that I could have prayed for someone or something else. Because one, hopefully it does turn their hearts and their minds, and if it doesn't, they will suffer accordingly. So there's some justice in that, and that's something our world definitely does lack in a lot of venues, is good justice. Now, I sit here and make it sound like it's something easy to do and no problems. Quite the opposite. So I've kind of made it my goal in this Exodus 90 days of asceticism, fraternity, and prayer to dedicate every day a part of my prayer time towards praying for my enemies. And I've been at this Exodus 90 now. This is the 5th day, and I've done it twice. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work, especially for me, to one, pray for that. I really don't want to. I don't believe these people deserve that, which then I have to tell myself that's being very un-Catholic. Everyone deserves being saved. Everyone deserves to get to heaven. That's why we were put on earth, was to ultimately go to heaven. So I got to clear that out of my head. But then I'll start thinking about all the other stuff that I have to pray about, and it's a long, long list. And I'm dedicating quite a bit of time to pray. But I have to remind myself of that passage, that one, if I am able to turn them spiritually for my soul, it's an amazing thing that I was able to do that through my prayers. But if for some reason they won't turn their hearts and souls towards God and change their ways, God will take his vengeance. He will be justice. He will stand up and he will seek the justice in the end. It might not help my suffering here on earth. Some of these enemies I'm currently praying for are still causing me a lot of trouble, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, definitely a lot of headaches. So yeah, I know it's not going to be a reward, or vengeance isn't going to be seeked while they're here on earth. But I'm of an age now and of a maturity, I'm in it for the long game. They make my life hell for the next, 10, 20, 30 years, who knows? Might be possible. But eternity is a very long time. And I would very much like to spend eternity in heaven. And if they haven't changed their ways in the time they're given on earth, that's not my problem. So again, it is, I know it's kind of a weird way of thinking, to pray for someone. I do honestly, and it does, like I said, I have to actually amp myself out and mean those prayers to actually mean them. I can't just lightheartedly pray or snarkily pray. That's not how I pray. I never pray for someone to get hurt or injured. That's wrong too. So I have to actually pray that they'll get better. They'll get grace. They'll change their minds, and whatever they're missing in their life, they're missing a closeness to God, that God again shows himself to them, so that they may know God and know the miracles and know the grace that he has. And if I'm able to pray like that, at least in the end, I know that if it didn't work, they will get vengeance. And that's okay too. Again, I've never admitted that I'm the nicest person ever. I've seen a lot of bad things in the world. It's jaded me quite a bit, and it's something I'm constantly working on. But it's something, if you have been wronged by someone, try praying for them. And I guarantee you it's not going to be easy. Especially not easy to actually pray and mean it. Praying and meaning it is a very hard thing to do, even for stuff you genuinely care about and you genuinely are concerned about. But it's worth it. Even if it's just one quick prayer, you'll might not feel better after the first time you do it, or second or third time. But something will click. That's the amazing thing about prayer. It's very subtle. It's very quiet. It's not something where you pray for it today and tomorrow it comes true. It's not wish granting, as a good priest friend of mine always says. We're not praying to a genie to grant our wishes. We're praying to receive grace. And I do believe, and I know I've felt it, where you can actually feel that grace. You feel a sense of calm or peace. Again, it's more than one prayer that it'll take, but it's there. So before I get too long-winded on this, I'll kind of leave it off here. And yeah, I promise next week will not be religious based. This will not become a religious vlog where we do nothing but talk about the greatness of God, although I probably could. I do very much enjoy talking about religion. But again, don't be surprised if they kind of sneak in from time to time. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well. And remember to pray for your enemies. And we'll talk to you on the next one. So have a good one.